Men don't want traditional relationships. They want traditional power plus her paycheck. A woman who works, raises the kids, absorbs the labor, centers him, and still has less power to leave. That's their idea of tradition. So you meet a man and he says he wants a traditional relationship. Okay, cool. So you'll be paying all the bills then? No. She works full time and comes home to cook, clean, take care of the kids. Interesting tradition. This is what modern men mean when they say that they want a traditional relationship. They don't want a 1950s relationship. They want a 1950s dynamic on a modern budget where she funds half the household and performs all of the household duties. He wants someone who emotionally supports him through the stress of it all and makes herself small enough that leaving feels impossible. That's not tradition. That's a hostage situation with a ring on it. Historically, traditional men provide everything: the house, the income, the security. These men want the authority of a provider without providing, the respect of a patriarch without the sacrifice. He wants the power to stay comfortable while she stays exhausted because they're both working, but he wants the tradition of her upholding the household, doing all of the household duties, rearing the children, everything that a traditional marriage would have, but also while she's working. They don't want a traditional relationship. They want a woman that's too tired, too broke, and too dependent to realize that she has options. So when a man says to you that he wants a traditional relationship, ask him exactly which part, because the answer will tell you.
One of my mutuals made a video where he was saying that men going to work, and this is in the context of like being a husband and having children, being in a family, that men going to work is not a sacrifice and the men are having a fit. Their very angry response kind of confirms something that I learned in my own marriage, which is that men don't really want to be providers. They don't really want to take care of their wives and their children. They will, it's their obligation, it's their responsibility, but it's not something they really desire to do. I was married for 18 years and I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 of those years. And I was very shocked to find out near the end of my marriage, when things were really disintegrating, how my now ex-husband really felt about me staying at home all of those years. While he acknowledged the work that I did, as I said, I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids who were disabled. I did the majority of the chores in the home, the mental, emotional labor. I did a majority of the hands-on parenting for our 2 kids. While he appreciated and respected what I did to a certain degree, in his mind, it was nowhere near the contribution that he was making to the marriage and the family. Like if there's like a marriage pie, in his mind, he was contributing 75% of the pie and I was only doing, like 25. He felt a lot of anger and resentment that he had to go out and work and I got to stay home. He looked at it like he was doing me a favor. It's like, that's what you wanted. You wanted to stay home with the kids and I gave that to you. And the feeling was he wasn't getting near what he should have been receiving from me for giving me this huge gift of being able to stay at home. Now, I was under the impression that we made this decision together. My ex-husband was in the military. We moved. Like I said, our 2 kids were disabled. There were lots of reasons why it made sense for me to stay home and take care of the kids. And I know that I worked very hard in our home. Our home was clean. Everything was taken care of. Our children being taken care of. He didn't really have to come home and do much at all. So I didn't really understand where the resentment came from until he said something during an argument we had that was kind of a tell. He said, if it wasn't for you and the kids, I could be doing what I really wanted to do in my life. And I was really shocked because in my mind, I was thinking, isn't being married to me and being in this family what you really wanted out of your life? And this is why every time I see a woman who says, I want a provider, I want a man to take care of me, just understand what you're getting for that is a man who's going to resent you and eventually hate you for it. Because, to be honest, he really doesn't want to do it.
Honey, you are diseased of the mind.
It is really hard to find a man who is willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age, who is not a conservative. But am I asking to have my cake and eat it too?
Holy mother of earth. She wants a traditional man that's not a conservative. Okay, first of all, most traditional men who are the provider protector type, which is what you're saying you want. You want a man who pays, you want a gentleman, you want a protector, you want a traditional masculine guy. Most of those guys are going to be conservative. Why, honey? Because liberal guys have swallowed the feminist bullcrap talking points. Okay, honey, it's not a coincidence, love. Oh, God. You want a guy to be traditional. Are you a traditional woman? No, you can't be a liberal woman without traditional values, not wanting to fulfill a traditional female role and attract a traditional man. That's your problem.
I don't expect anyone to live outside their means. No one should be living outside their means. Women who date men who live outside their means.
No, Cheryl, I feel everything
problem.
you're saying, but once you get into a real relationship, once you get into a deep relationship and we've discussed finances where we at, if I'm taking you out, at some point it will just be nice and generous if you give joyfully and say, hey, I'd like to take you someplace you like. It can't be just one-sided 100%, especially if you know we're not rich.
Why would you? The thing is, if we have financial discussions and we come to clarity, financial discussions is discussions. We have a place.
It's a fact.
I know what a violation is, right? So if were those shoes a violation, what account?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But if I've been taking you out and being generous on you, you don't think you should turn around and then be somewhat generous in some way, shape, or form, whether it's cooking a meal, taking me out, or sewing me a new sweater?
How did you fall in love with a woman who's not generous, brother? How did you
But
get
that's-
married to a
that's-
woman
He's
who's
asking-
not generous?
he's asking you.
That's
He's
what I'm
asking you,
I'm
Cheryl.
asking you.
That's my
I'm
thing.
asking you.
How did that happen?
That's what I'm asking you.
That wouldn't happen to me.
No, but you said you wouldn't pay for anything. So I'm like,
No.
so
And
at
I
some
said
point,
it
aren't
from-
you going to
maybe
be
this is the
generous
last
if a dude is being
episode.
generous to you?
So let me clarify for the people who only saw this episode. I'm amazing, right?
This is
and
a fact.
so I bring a lot into somebody's life.
No, but that's not what
only
we're asking. I'm
am I-
asking, are you ever generous? Or
I'm-
do you think
Financially.
there's a time for a woman to be generous?
What I invest, one, is not, I'm never trying to match my man on money.
That's
That
not
is
what I'm asking. That's not what I'm
Well,
asking.
but
I said,
the thing
when
is-
and if are you
But listen,
generous to your
that's
other
not why they dated
counterparts?
me. But what I bring, they do not bring. With the charm that I bring.
What, are you
I'm
talking
the kind
about
of
P
woman-
power?
No, listen.
Because of
I'm the
course
kind
they
of
can't
woman-
bring that.
listen, I'm the kind of woman and this has happened more than once. You bring me into a party with your boss, promotion's coming. Dinner at your
wow.
boss's
Oh,
house
wow.
is coming. I cook well. And when I was in a relationship, I had a
Okay.
pole at home. I feel all
So that's
the
your
things-
form of
Wait, I'm sorry. You had,
You'll cook.
oh,
You'll
did I
cook.
hear that right? I did hear
I
that.
cook
Okay,
better
cool.
than
I just want
anybody
to make sure I
dinner.
heard that right.
I'm not getting married.
A vast majority of the good women that you want are going to expect marriage.
I can have a long-term girlfriend, stay with her forever, be monogamous, have 7 children with her. What changes?
He essentially wants marriage just without the government contract.
Right.
Why does the government contract scare you so much?
Financial liability. And I don't need the government involved. And I don't
agree.
need some woke judge telling me how I should distribute my money and how the assets should go. And, oh, my wife cheats on me. And we've been married for 15 years. In California, I have to pay her alimony for her entire life. F the government. The laws. Marriage is a contract, and I'm a businessman. When I look at what marriage is from a legal perspective, it's a terrible contract. Oh, here's a woman who didn't help you build your business at all, and at any moment she could be cheating on me, or even if there's no cheating, she could just be like, well, I don't like him anymore. Now he has to pay me for the rest of my life X amount of money. That's f***ing retarded.
So let's talk about this dynamic, okay, of wanting to protect and a man basically not wanting to do his duty. Let's talk about this really quickly because I want to understand. So a man's job is to protect, provide security, finances, okay, that's his job. So we have protection, first of all, because the woman, they say she has to work and the man has to, well, let's put finance. I have to bring the finances because that's work. You know, let's say you have to work, so finances, then I have to come home, I have to cook, to clean, I have to do the kids, I have to take care of the kids, A man is not doing any of that, right? So you both have finances. He still has protect. You have the kids. He still has security. You have to cook. So he still has providing, which is an umbrella term. And then you still have cleaning, which is kind of a specific term, right? So anything honestly and truly can go in that provision slot, right? Well, you need to provide for the kids. You need to go make sure they have insurance. Can you put the kids on your insurance, or do I need to put them on my insurance? Whichever one is what it is, right? Whichever one is the cheapest. So that could go either way. Can you take the kids to go do this, and this? Whatever it is, either way. So she's got the kid. Let's say she has the kids. She puts the kids on her insurance. I mean, like I said, it could go either way. But the man still has a car. He still has a trash. Last time I checked, trash is a part of cleanup. Mowing the lawn is a part of cleanup. Domestic duties. Right? So he still has a car to maintain. That's a part of provision, but you don't really label it as that because, well, that doesn't really happen very often. It happens more than you know. Security has many different things. A man has a lot of different DIY projects that are not his. The honey-do list, that is not his. Can you stop by and get this? Can you do that? Oh, I should say groceries. She does the grocery shopping. And I can't even give you that. I would say, because it comes in bursts, fixing the car, I would say you don't have to do that every day. But it does come in bursts. So, when you have to spend time on the car, it might be a quick fix, or it might be something that's a little bit more expensive and more extensive in terms of time. I would say groceries, especially with today, they're not that hard, especially with some of these groups that a lot of these women are in, couponing and stuff like that. You don't even have to coupon like you used to, where you have to go in there and specifically cut up the coupons and you have to know how to stack and piggyback. You can go to one of these groups and they'll tell you exactly what to clip, how to clip it, and how to put it together. You can do that for shopping, and you can also do that for your home items like your mopping, Tide, whatever, your laundry, that sort of thing. You can do that, right? And then you have different stores, Walmart, Kroger, H-E-B, that's down here in Texas, but different stores, Safeway, Meijer, Publix, that sort of thing. Wherever you are, you have that ability and that option to do that. And you can schedule a pickup. So if you go pick the kids up, you can stop by the store. They put it in the car for you. You don't even have to step out. You also have the Advent, Sam's Club, and Costco do the same thing. So you can kind of look online with whatever you're doing, right? You can do that on your lunch break. You're not working all day. You're not focused all day. So you can do that in between emails or in between meetings. That is an option. So I think, you can make it work. I know a lot of modern women like to say that they do so much stuff, and you probably do, but you guys make it seem like men are not doing anything, which is also not true.
There is no upside for a man in 2026 to enter into matrimony given the current legal landscape. The current legal system that we have does not promote marriage. It's not an equal playing field. It's not an area where men should be participating. This is a game that excludes men. Women are completely capable of earning a living all on their own. In fact, we can even call them fully grown adults. I think that we're at the place where we could actually identify women as adult human beings, and they are capable of earning a living, and they don't need to be supported by a man. And it is no longer a man's job, if you will, to provide and protect a woman. It's not our job anymore. So with that in mind, the question is, why would a man enter into a situation where he would be committing his assets and his reputation to the ups and downs, the emotional turmoil that exists inside a woman's head? Why would he just gamble that away? What's the upside? What's the return on that investment?
How do you handle being in a relationship with a provider and a protector, but not emotionally available.
You don't. There's peace in being with a man who understands you. When you're dating, you are sitting across from someone who possibly may have to help you bury your parents one day. Who's somebody who possibly may have to call that funeral home when you just too emotional. This is what we're talking about. We ain't talking about a man who gonna pay for it. We talking about the man who's going to guide you through it, who gonna make sure you're all right after the situation is over with. And all I'm saying, baby, is if he ain't emotionally available, you don't be available at all.
Listen, nobody is perfect. We are not gonna get nobody perfect out here, sweetheart. And the fact of the matter is, for a lot of men that have the provider mentality, that's an old school mentality. Yes. All right, let me tell you. Yes. And a lot of old school men and men in general have a hard time expressing their emotions that way and being emotionally intelligent. A lot of them just emotional. So what happens is they lack somewhere. So would you rather have a man that's very emotionally intelligent, but he wants you to go 50-50? Would you rather have a man that's very emotionally intelligent, but he kind of soft and he not a protector? So you getting some things and some things you aren't, and you've been there 5 years, sweetheart. So you benefit in some type of way.
Yeah.
So respectfully, no. This comment was made in response to a video where I talk about the pain of being no one's priority as a single person, chronically single person, late bloomer. And yes, you can feel this within a relationship when your partner or people in your life don't prioritize you, but we're talking about it specifically through the lens of someone who is yet to experience being in a relationship where someone is choosing to be your partner in life, or just someone who's single right now, and how painful it can be to feel left behind by all your friends. And this does not mean you're not used to doing life on your own. As someone who didn't start dating until she was 32, I got so good at navigating life on my own. I went to the movies alone, I traveled alone, I went to restaurants alone. All of my hobbies were introverted. None of them required companionship. And I did have great friends. Great friends I saw when they had time to fit me into their schedules. But that did not change the fact that I had no one to come home to at night. No one who woke up woke up with me and wondered, what are we going to do today? How is Alora spending her day? And my hope for that lifelong hope to have that person, to want that person in my life to prioritize me differently than how anyone else in my life prioritizes me, is not because of a character flaw. It is not because I cannot fill my own time. It is not because I'm bored on my own. I do not need this in a companion. I can take care of myself. I want it. And it is okay to have that standard in the wanting of something. I don't feel like we should penalize people for wanting to go through life with someone if that's what they choose. If someone's single by choice, this is a different conversation. But when you don't feel like you have a choice, or if you've never had the opportunity to be in a relationship, this is where the pain point comes in. My dog says hi. That's all.
If you're living with a man and you guys live here, you're living with the provider. If you're living with a man and you guys live here, you're living with the loser. If you're living with a man and you guys live here, you're living with the provider. I repeat, if you're living with a man and you guys live here, you're living with a loser. So ladies, now that we got that straight, what type of man are you living with? A provider or a loser?
잘 좀 봐봐. 잘
Do we need men?
Do I personally need a man? No. Does the world need women, men alike? Yeah.
Well, if the world and society needs men, don't you two need men?
I am completely okay with going off-grid, living on an island in peace.
How would you get to the island?
Build a boat.
You would build the boat yourself?
Yeah.
Where would you get the materials to build the boat? Like Home Depot?
Chop down trees.
You would chop down trees?
Why not?
With what tool?
A chainsaw. You can make an axe.
You would make the axe yourself? You wouldn't just go buy it at Home Depot?
No.
So just to be clear, where would you get the metal from? Would you smelt the metal yourself too?
You don't necessarily need metal.
I'm sorry, is metal not a component of an axe?
You don't necessarily need a metal axe. No.
But you said you would get an axe.
If I had to make one with the materials I had available to me.
You'd cut down a tree.
Would you rather I gnaw at it?
What do you mean?
I'm truly sorry. I want to take this opportunity, sir, to apologize to you for the videos that I created. I drew conclusions based on a short video that I saw of you when you came asking the public to help you find your wife.
I am a firm believer that apologies should be just as loud or even louder than the accusation. And that being said, I do want to say a humble and genuine apology to Antoine Brown, to Antoine Brown's family.
Put a finger down if you feel like the biggest dirtbag ever because you thought the husband from the missing Chicago public school teacher offed his wife, but now new information came out saying that she drove her vehicle to the lake. The vehicle was found by the lake.
Mr. Brown, I sincerely and humbly apologize. I misread the signal, so I absolutely positively apologize.
Good morning, and I'm going to get my judgmental stupid on here and apologize to Antoine Brown. What I'm glad about is I didn't get on here and publicly nail Antoine Brown to the cross like so many of you did. I didn't, but did I laugh behind the scenes at you doing it? I did. And that's where I hold myself accountable. I shouldn't have done that. I should have gotten all my facts straight, and I'm big on getting facts.
I'm not apologizing to Linda Brown's husband, Antoine Brown, until we have all the facts. Now, I understand that they do have video showing that she walked away from her own vehicle, but where did she go?
And once again, I hesitate to use the word simp. I really do. But, you know, you had two men speaking on tonight's conversation. And they were, the woman was like, what would I do if a man is a protector and a provider? True protector and provider through and through. But he's you know, he's not all that emotionally available. You know, he don't really show his emotions to me. I understand where you're coming from. And I get what you're saying. I want him to be a little bit more loving. I want him to be a little bit more romantic. You know, just, you know, rose petals on the bed. You know, I want that. Most women do. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. But what I am saying is, and this is what the second guy came on and said, you're going to miss something somewhere. Because the first guy said, well, you know, you leave him. Huh? You leave him? That's your response? Oh man, you dealing with somebody, like if you have to bury your parents or somebody, you know, he might pay for the casket and the funeral and all that stuff, but you know, you're gonna need somebody to lean on. That much is true. But I think when we say emotionally unavailable, we think that emotionally unavailable means emotionally inept, like emotionally degenerate, like not there at all, decimated. And that's not the case. They have what they used to call the strong silent type, where the man don't say much, but you get him to talking, then you see how many emotions he has, how many feelings he has. I have a lot of men like that in my family, right? My dad is like that. My pawpaw's like that. My pa was like that. Well, you know, both of my grandfathers have passed away, so they were like that, right? You know, they come in there, they provide. They would discipline around the house, you know, that sort of thing. But you know, I don't show too much emotion. But if the kid's acting crazy and I'm reading my newspaper, say much, because when I wrinkle that newspaper, I don't even put it down. I just wrinkle it, and the kids know, hey, I better shut up. It's done. So I keep order and peace in the house. Now what you're going to do as the woman is you're going to come in and fulfill the things that I don't have. And I'm going to do the same for you. And that's what the other guy had to come in and clarify. Wait a minute. There's some things you don't have. We're not perfect. So you got to pick and choose what you want. Now he can work on being a little bit more emotionally available for you. And just being more emotionally vulnerable to you. That's something that he can work on. But that you have some other stuff too. And I don't feel like that's something that you leave somebody over.
Yeah, no, I don't think my calling in life is to work 80 hours a week so I can be a full soul provider. While my girl is doing Orange Theory Fitness, Solid Core / Pilates, going to coffee shops, and requesting Apple Pay payments of $400 to $500 to spend at Ulta and Sephora. And let's not also forget doing pointless and useless Target runs. That is not my calling. No, because like, what do you mean by, can I send you $1,000 so you can renew your Pilates membership because LA Fitness gives you anxiety? No, because what do you mean by, can I send you $250 so you can shop at Sephora because you were really stressed out today? I just worked a 12-hour shift, broke ass. What did you do today? Jesus Christ himself needs to come down on earth, and I need to verify by seeing the holes on his hand to tell me being a full provider is my calling. Because that actually seems like on earth.
My girlfriend behind my back was calling me Pocahontas.
I had a little off. Yeah, I had to cut a bill off. Yeah, but if we been rolled off, yeah, I'll never feel nothing. I started jumping the gun, yeah, like I do it for fun. You act like you do it for real, but no, you not one of us. You never could come inside of this building we run, inside of this world we do it for us. No one fuck with one of them at all, and I won't function at all. No, I won't pick up the calls, no, I don't like it at all. I can't want to see you fall. I keep on chasing the highs, I know I can never get back, so I'm always on low. And I got eyes on the back of my head, I got eyes everywhere, so I know where you go. I can drop tires in this bitch, drop like...
You might want to repark your car, though. I'm not transparent. I'm very... Whoa, man, get off my stuff. Get off, hey, don't touch my stuff. Man. Do not touch my stuff.
What is wrong with you?
What are you doing? Don't touch my stuff again. That's what you get for putting your hands on people. That's where I'll find out.
We don't talk enough about how feminism has damaged the children of this country, right? Before feminism, children were being raised in a nuclear family at 70% of the population, meaning 70% of households had both mom and dad living together, taking care of the children together, raising a family. Now that's down to 20%. 20%. That means 80% of America's children are growing up with only one parent in the household or with a split household. That is really sad, guys, especially when we look at the academic results of this. We can see that these children are struggling because they don't have the same support system that generations prior to us had. We know that not only are children who were raised in a two-parent home more likely to succeed academically, but they're more well-rounded socially. Think about it.
How is a man supposed to learn how to be a man if he doesn't have a father in the home to teach him? And how is he supposed to know how to treat a woman if he doesn't have a good father at home to show him how his mother should be treated? And vice versa for a woman, right? A young lady growing up in a home where it's only her mom, she doesn't get to see how a woman should be loved, how a woman should be prioritized and treated by a husband. And a woman growing up without her father, we've already seen, we know what it looks like when a woman has no father in the home and grows up yearning for that father figure. We don't need more of that for our society, for our children. It leads to young women seeking that father figure somewhere else, seeking that attention somewhere else. And this is why we end up with so many teenage pregnancies. This is why we end up with so many broken homes repeating themselves. Not to mention the millions of children that never even got to experience life thanks to the feminist push for. Since Roe v. Wade was passed in 1973, 63 plus million babies have been aborted in the United States alone. 63 million babies. Feminists don't care about the 32 million women that were unalived in the womb, never given a chance to become something, to be someone. They don't care about the millions of women who regret getting an abortion. They never have that conversation about how mentally difficult it is for a woman to face the fact that she unalived her own child. It's only my body, my choice. Never, what is my choice doing to the next generation?
You know, I'm just out here trying to understand why women are suddenly finding standards and discovering where the bare minimum is when it comes to the next man. But you didn't have any of that when you were allowing somebody to impregnate you. I mean, I'm just finding it real interesting that you got all these requirements for men who are coming in after the fact, talking about how great they got to be and how involved they got to be and how much money they got to be willing to spend on children that they did not father. But the fathers, where was that energy? I'm trying to understand, because it seems real weird that you would suddenly tell a man who is just interested in dating you, even though you have children, which is by definition the baggage you bring with you, all these things he better be willing to do, and all these requirements and all these hoops that you set on fire that he got to jump through. You want him to do that to be with you because you're the prize all of a sudden after you've had kids. But you didn't have that energy. Nope. No standards, no bar for the bare minimum, no requirements for the man that you let offspring be put into you. I
have no objection to men wanting the title of provider and protector if you actually walk the walk on that, because protection is not the potential for in your fantasy about an intruder, which in 99% of cases is never going to happen. You are not a protector if you do not independently research and know how to install and buckle your child's car seat properly. You are not a protector if you don't know who their doctor is, where to take them if they get hurt, the proper protocol or phone numbers for things like poison control or if they choke. You are not a protector when you teach your kids things like abstinence only and purity culture, which are proven to just be harmful. You are not a protector if you ever lay hands on your kids for any reason. And speaking of the typical invasion fantasy, you are not a protector if you have in your home and it is not unloaded and under lock and key.
And I really do love the fact that there's somebody out here somewhere that's pointing out the dangers of feminism. I know a lot of modern women don't really want to acknowledge that. You have a lot of people that sit up here and talk about how terrible the manosphere is and how much of a detriment it is, and you know, it's leading our young men astray. But then they go right past what feminism has done. They go right past all of the nonsense that has gone on with different movements, even though at some point in time those movements were like, oh yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Let's try to take more care of women. Let's try to make sure we look out for women a lot more. But then when doing that, I would expect for women to say, yeah, let's look out for men as well. Let's make sure that they're taken care of. But you do see a lot of these modern women saying Men's Mental Health Month. I don't care anything about that. So I mean, what do you expect? At some point in time, men are going to want reciprocation.
A man with money but no character is still expensive. See, you're just paying in a different currency. Y'all out here asking what he makes, I'm asking what he costs. Because a man can make 6 figures and still cost you your peace. He can cost you your confidence. He can cost you your joy. He can cost you your sense of safety. He can pay every bill in the house and still leave you emotionally bankrupt. That's because provision was never just about money. See, peace is provision. Integrity is provision. Consistency is provision. Faithfulness is provision. Character is provision. And while you've been chasing the man with the bag, you might have walked right past the man with the carrot, the man who shows up, the man who tells the truth when lying would have been easy, the man who makes you feel safe instead of anxious, the man who protects your peace instead of constantly disturbing it. Because money can buy a lifestyle, but it can't buy trust. Money can buy a house, but it can't make it feel like a home. So stop asking if he can afford you and start asking if he can sustain you. Because a man who costs you your peace is the most expensive man you'll ever have.
At this point in your life, whatever age you are as a man, if you managed to not get married, you're winning. Marriage is a scam. And I believe marriage is for weak and poor people. Basically, because if you're strong and if you can think logically, marriage is not a good deal. And sometimes we make mistakes and we get married anyways because we don't know better. But as long as you don't remarry and you learn your lesson, you're good. So don't make a mistake and get married. It's not worth it.
Call men stupid in every possible way that you can. As time went on, I learned the way to make music. You write what speaks to you, and you write the music that you want to listen to yourself. Call men stupid in every possible way that you can. Let's call men stupid again.
This very reason, there are very few artists that I will allow my daughter to listen to. Sabrina Carpenter is definitely not one of them. Dua Lipa is one of them. Snow the Product, no problem. Probably the only female rapper that my daughter can listen to. Not listening to Taylor Swift. She's not listening to Olivia Rodrigo. She's not listening to any of these women who make music for girls who beat their boyfriends and then blame their boyfriends for it. Sorry. I already hear the feminists already. Oh my God, you're so controlling. You're so weird. But if I sat up here and I was like, I'm not going to let my son listen to music that blatantly disrespects women, y'all would be like, yay! And that's true. I'm not going to allow him to listen to that. But for some reason, society finds it perfectly fine when we teach little boys how to treat women. But once we start teaching little girls how to treat men, then it's a problem.
Marriage isn't for you then. I'm a complete free person. I have complete agency over my... I don't need someone telling me what to do. Marriage is an institution. It involves restrictions. It involves being answerable to somebody. The whole process is like checking yourself into prison and saying, I'm a free person. If you are opposed to communal decisions and anybody stepping in and saying, sometimes I know you're free to do whatever you want, but that affects me. That makes me feel uncomfortable. If your response is, well, I do what I want, you're not fit to be a wife. Even if a man is like that, marriage is not for you. If you have a man who's like, I do whatever I want, you can't tell me what to do. If I'm going to go to the club, I'm going to go to the club. If I want to like pictures, I'm going to like pictures. Don't tell me, no worries. You're not a husband. When both of you understand that, there's sometimes you have to do what's best for the marriage rather than what's best for you. You're built to be married.
All right, who's going to win? We got a husband and a wife. All right, y'all, husband and wife, they've been married 20 years. They have 3 minor children together. This divorce has been taking a little longer than usual. I think it's been pending maybe just over a year or so, and we're still doing more discovery. Both husband and wife earn quite a bit of money, but husband out-earns wife substantially. So they went to a temporary hearing. They have been separated. And when I say separated, no legal paperwork or anything like that, but they are no longer having marital relations, and they've considered their relationship as over pending the divorce. All right, so we went to a temporary hearing. At the temporary hearing, wife asked for exclusive use of the marital residence. The court not only granted the exclusive use of the residence, but they also ordered husband to continue to pay the mortgage pending the results of the divorce on a temporary basis. And that's not uncommon. It's called keeping the status quo. So husband is still paying for the mortgage. Wife is still living in the house. She has the kids. Husband is also paying some child support. Fast forward about 4 months later, wife moves her new boyfriend into the house. Husband is livid. He does not feel that it is fair that he is paying for a home that wife is living in with her new boyfriend, who doesn't pay any bills. And I'm being told that he is wearing some of my husband's clothes. I cannot make this stuff up, y'all. At any rate, we want to know, does wife need to take over the mortgage, or does husband continue to pay until the divorce is over? Who's going to win?
I went on a date with a guy who got so mad when he found out that I pay my ex-husband alimony. He started asking me all of these questions like, how long do you have to pay? What percentage of your income is it? Is this before or after taxes? And you have to pay child support on top of that? I see men on the internet get so mad about having to pay alimony, but when a woman pays it, they get even more upset. But here's the thing. He stayed at home with our kids so I could make a business. And when we broke up, he didn't have a full-time job. So yeah, I pay alimony because that's the law, but also because it's what's right. And I'll make more money. And I'll do it with a partner who supports me, not one who tries to take something from the father of my children.
I had a dating app for like a cool solid 3 weeks and ended up deleting it, and I'll tell you why. I met some really cool people on there and went on some awesome dates. Actually, I had a weird date, and we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to pretend that that never happened. Anyways, back to my point. I ended up deleting it just because I tripped right there. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, I ended up deleting it just because, I don't know, I wasn't sure if I was on there for validation or what it was, but it's actually forcing me to like go out, spark conversation with people. So it's really nice. And that's why I deleted it.
When you go to a coffee shop for a date, or you go to the bookstore for a date, or you go feed the geese for a date, whatever it is that you want to do that costs $50 or less, and that woman is actually interested in getting to know you, stop spending money on her. And if she tells you she doesn't want to go out with you because it's going to take energy and time and all of these things, she doesn't like you. She doesn't like you. She doesn't want you. She wants what she can get from you.
I completely co-sign what she's saying. Do not lead with money in a relationship. Otherwise, you're going to attract people who are interested in your money. You want to attract people that are interested in who you are. If you meet a girl, if you get her phone number and you want to take her out to something more casual, I always recommend, if you're even going to do coffee, make sure it's coffee plus an event, coffee plus a walk, coffee plus a picnic, coffee plus a museum, something like that. I highly recommend you take that approach rather than break the bank on a complete stranger with the hopes that you're not seeing a bunch of other people and with the hopes that you want to see me again. That is a lot of risk for men, especially in 2026. If you are interested in a woman and she pushes back on you doing something that's a bit on the less expensive side, then that should make you question whether or not you want to be with this person. Why is this person so interested in getting you to spend money? I recommend things like happy hours on a weekday. If you're leading with money, you're going to get gold diggers. But if you're leading with who you are, your confidence, your personality, your ability to listen and have interesting conversations, that is what's going to determine whether or not someone likes you beyond your resources. Do not spend unnecessary money, especially on early dates. Now, if you guys are more into it and you really care about the person, you want to take her somewhere nice, that's fine. But don't do that for complete strangers. That is going to make you more resentful in the dating process going forward. If you want advice on dating, let's talk.
And, you know, a woman, I guess she was responding to a guy. I guess the guy said something to the effect of, you know, I like your videos because I like your look, but a man's role is love, protecting, and providing. And the woman is a homemaker. She runs the house. And so a lot of modern women, if you even deal with that statement right there, running the house, that's no small feat. That's actually a huge responsibility. But they think just because they're not out in the world working, they're not really doing much. And that's not actually true. But to kind of move on and deal with the main thing, she went down a line of things. If you have a weapon in your house and it's not in a safe, unloaded, then you're not a protector. If you don't know, poison control or where to take your children's doctor, and then you're not a protector and you're a provider. And then a list of other things that quite honestly don't really have anything to do with protecting and providing. I think another one she said was, if you can't, if you didn't research and independently know how to put your child's seat in a car, then you're not a protector or a provider. That type of stupid stuff, a man can easily go and say, if you don't know how to change the brake pads, then how can you really run a home? Because that's part of running a home. How can you say that you're nurturing if the man might be out working? Part of nurturing is making sure, like say for instance, I leave the car at home with you because the brakes need to be changed. The oil needs to be changed. Maybe you can take care of that. That would be a part of the home. Part of the home is the trash. Maybe you can take care of that. Trash is in the home. Maybe all these projects like hanging and mounting the TV, you're doing the dusting and the cleaning and stuff like that. So a lot of women don't even do that. But all of these things that are connected to the home that you say are traditionally male roles, you don't do them. Maybe it's time that you start doing it, because you say you want equality. You want to be a real partner. If you say that you want to be a real partner, maybe it's time for you to start taking on some more of these responsibilities. But of course, you're not going to do that.
Men don't want to marry anymore because the risk outweighs the benefits. There's a risk that comes with marriage that essentially only benefits a woman. A man marries you and can only hope that one day you don't wake up and say, I feel like I don't love you anymore and I want to leave and you can't do anything about it. According to ASA, 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Among college-educated women, it jumps to 90%. You know what's crazy? I mean, a lot of us women don't have anything a man actually wants that we can bring to the table.
I think when men make more money, their dating pool opens up. When women make more money, their dating pool shrinks. Because men don't really care about a woman's career. They don't care about a woman's status. They don't care about a woman's money. Like a super successful lawyer, he'll date a girl like an attractive, pleasant girl who works as a barista.
They care about the experience with the woman more than they care about what she does when she's not with him.
Correct. But as a woman, typically I think a woman who says she makes $500,000 a year, I think a lot of women who make that much money, even though they could totally, that's so much money, they could totally take care of a guy. Even if they can do that dynamic, I don't think a lot of them want to. I think when women make, say, $500,000, they're like, okay, well, I make this much now. Now, I want a guy who makes as much as me or more. Like a female attorney, they're not going to be thinking, okay, I'm going to date a barista. No, she's an attorney. She's like, I'm going to date another attorney. I'll date a doctor. I'll date this. So I think it's a bit different.
If we say the quiet part out loud, that in the majority of heterosexual marriages, the man brings protection and providing, and the woman brings kindness, warmth, and care, right? And that's the economy. That's the economy. I didn't make that up. Don't get mad at me in the comments. I didn't make it up. It was here before me. It's going to be here after me. I promise, right? So that's the game. That's the economy. His roles, his obligations are enforceable by law. So state power can be used to enforce his obligations, not hers. The court cannot order her to be nice to him or to him or to stay pretty or to stay sweet and friendly to him and kind to him or speak nicely of him or raise the children in a meaningful way that creates value to him instead of teaching them to disrespect him, right? But his promises in that, shelter, food, financial obligations, court can force you to do that. And if you don't do it, they can put you in jail or they can take away your driver's license, your professional licenses. So what is that? When you have a contract where only one side is enforceable by law, under penalty of law, that is a dangerous game to play if you're a man, period.
It ain't you. The is just a loser, and she gonna make sure she lose. She can't lose if she with you because you a winner. So for her to be where she's most comfortable, she got to get away from you because she's a loser and you a winner. It's called self-sabotaging behavior. I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible. A lot of these women are fooled fools. The is a loser. They will have a great situation where they are benefiting. They're getting a man's time, his energy, his knowledge, his network. And this man is going out of his way for this woman. And over something so small, she would say, I'm done dealing with it all. And you think to yourself, was it me? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. What? She must have better options. And the don't got no better options. Ain't never had no better option. You was the best she ever had. And then you sitting there tripping, thinking to yourself, like, what's really going on? The is a loser. And that is why she was in that lowly state when you met her, because she makes poor decisions. Hey, brother, it ain't you. It ain't you. Stop overthinking it. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to make sense out of nonsense. The is a fool. And that's why she was up when you met her, because clearly she makes poor decisions in life. You were the best thing and the best man that she ever had, and she threw it all away over something so minuscule. Why? Because she's a fool and makes poor decisions in life. And that's why she was in a poor state when you met her. No matter what happened in her life, she was going to find a way to it's called self-sabotaging behavior. You can give her a winning play, she's going to find a way to lose it. Throw her the ball perfectly in the end zone, she's going to find a way to fall out of bounds. That's why I say start looking at these broads' history. The trauma and the things that they got going on in their life since childhood, you can never fix. So you're only investing in a situation that could never work out. It ain't you. The is just a loser, and she gonna make sure she lose. And she can't lose if she with you, because you a winner. So for her to be where she's most comfortable, she got to get away from you, because she's a loser and you a winner.
How many dimes are in a dollar?
How many dimes are in a dollar? There's 10 cents is a dime, and then 4 quarters make a dollar. So let's see, 10, 20, 30. Isn't it? I don't want to say 100. No, wait, hold on. No. Okay. 4 quarters, 25 cents per quarter, and that's 4. Okay, so a dime is 10 each. So that's 2 dimes gives you a quarter and a half.
I'll give you a question.
Two.
Yeah.
Can I take this? Okay. So, 1.5.
No, take your time.
1.5 quarter.
1.5 quarter.
No, not 1.5 quarter. Okay. 2 dimes.
2 dimes.
Is 20 cents. Where's my kid?
No calculator. No calculator.
Oh wait, this is the little thing that they do, and they put it on the little thing. Okay, so yeah, my name is Oshun. It's 2 dimes gives you. Two dimes give you a dollar.
There you go.
Problem, you're not understanding my.
This girl's literally twerking on the car, bro. Wait, what goes through your mind when you start twerking on a car?
I'm just like, hey.
Your first impulse is just to start twerking?
Kind of.
Just like a girl's trip?
Yeah.
Just out here being a hoe?
No, we're out here having fun.
Wait, yo, cameraman, get off a rain bat.
We're not out here being a hoe. We're having fun.
So you were saying twerking out in public isn't being a hoe?
Twerking is not dedicated to being a hoe.
You're right. It's more like being a slut.
Men are lustful. Men always like to look at bodies that they can't control themselves.
Maybe.
So I know
because some hoes out here. No, I'm gonna preach to you.
I am the father.
You're a woman. You can't preach. You're a woman. You're a woman. You can't preach. What would men lust after if you weren't out here twerking in the street?
That's your problem. You're not understanding my accent. You're not understanding.
You're the problem.
See,
you're the problem.
You're attracted to our spots.
You're the problem. I'm not attracted to any of y'all. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Much love, bro.
And you know, I there was a woman talking about she pays alimony and child support. And apparently the guy that was, dating her was like, you pay alimony? How much do you pay? Is that before or after taxes? Because apparently it's a pretty good chunk of change, right? I do get where he's coming from, because that's outflows going, to somewhere else. And I think a lot of men they try to build their own household. So they'll see, I see where he's coming from. But like she said, he didn't work. I worked. And so, when he was raising the kids and we got divorced, he really didn't have a whole lot. So I pay alimony for that. And then for the kids, obviously that's my responsibility too. So child support. Well, how long do you have to pay that? I don't know, maybe 5-10 years. That's a lot. I would say in that situation, if it were me, it depends on how much. Child support is going to be child support. But for me, it alimony depends, because I think in the end, he is kind of right. That's something that I would have to cover. You're doing the right thing for you and what was your family, because he didn't have a job. But at the end of the day, the net zero is you're taking care of somebody else. And so we're like, say we have like $1,000 and 300 of it has to go to your alimony and child support. Like I said, child support, maybe you send 100, 150, alimony 100, 150 or whatever. At the end of the day, that 150 that we could be spending on our family is going to go to him specifically. So the 150 or however much we need, I'm going to have to come up with that. Right. And so I think that's the way that he's looking at it, which honestly, I don't hate him for it. I don't judge him for it, but I do honestly understand both sides of the situation.